The woman who had decided to become a good wife tomorrow today chose to enter her final high-stakes car race. Seeing this, the renowned god of racing was intrigued because this mysterious girl was the only one who dared to challenge him. That's why he thought she must be some kind of reckless fool. But what he didn't know was that she had already been pushed to the edge by her loveless marriage. Actually, just hours ago, the woman found out a hard truth, that the only reason her husband's family kept her was to produce an heir, and her husband was openly cheating on her. Knowing this, her last hope for the marriage was crushed. That's when she understood why. No matter how much she endured, her husband remained cold and distant. When she had first seen him risk his life in a race, his car suddenly malfunctioned and was about to crash. That's why, without hesitation, she sacrificed her own victory just to save his life. But he had no idea it was her. When the woman walked in on her husband, shamelessly embracing his lover, she was completely heartbroken. That's when she found out the real truth. She realized she was just a tool. The real affection was always for someone else. Meanwhile, her husband's grandfather started forcing her to get pregnant in place of her husband's infertile lover. Upon hearing that, the woman cynically agreed, but with one condition: she would find a man of her own choosing. That night, without looking back at her husband, she directly went to a bar and made a shocking proposal to the very racer whose life she had saved. But even there, her stepsister followed her, not physically, but in spirit. As the past came back to haunt her, she was now competing for her own destiny, a task she had to complete. Her husband believed, "She is just using cheap tricks to get my attention." But little did he know, the woman was now driven by pure desperation. So, the racer, intrigued by her audacity, calmly accepted her offer. Seeing his mystery girl leave with only a stack of cash behind, the racer instructed his friends to figure out her intentions. So his friends started guessing what it meant when a woman sleeps with you and then pays you off. Seeing his confusion, the woman's husband cruelly said to her face, "You are only useful for attending parties," because she knew she was trapped. After that night, the racer stared at the empty room with obsession. But the real twist came when we found out that the man thought his mystery woman was just a bold stranger he met at a bar. Seeing that he had been completely captivated, he started a desperate search, but he only knew that she was a skilled racer, and because she disappeared without a trace, the man mistakenly thought she was just playing a game with him, when in reality, the one who used him was the same person who had selflessly saved his life. The woman, furious after her husband's public humiliation, threw herself into her plan, saying she needed a child. But just then, her past with her husband came rushing back, revealing the source of his cruelty. The woman was framed, but her husband chose to believe the lies without question. At that party, while the racer was desperately searching for his mystery woman, she stood silently beside her husband. Just then, some people started mocking her, but the husband ignored it. Only when his lover appeared did he finally show some warmth. At that moment, suddenly, the racer appeared at the same event, his eyes scanning the crowd. But what did the woman do? She only tried to maintain her composure while her world was falling apart. After returning home, the woman said, "Why did you believe them instead of me?" Just then, her husband came forward and coldly said, "You were only useful to me at these events." But the woman couldn't tolerate his cruelty anymore, and he directly ordered her to get ready for the next social event. Because of this, his coldness was absolute. So, to take revenge, she got herself pregnant with another man's child as her family ordered. She was in pains, emotionally broken, when she finally saw the racer again at a grand party. And that's when he found out the entire truth. Now, what will happen next? The woman who had endured her husband's public affair for years was today ordered to stay silent at a party. Seeing her defiance, the man was furious because she was supposed to be a docile, obedient wife. That's why he thought a harsh warning would put her back in her place. But what he didn't know was that she had already decided to stop playing the fool. Actually, her husband had brought his mistress to this family event and brazenly asked his own wife to tolerate it for the sake of appearances. Hearing this demand, the ground of her dignity crumbled beneath her feet. That's when she understood that in this marriage, she was merely a shield to appease his grandfather. When she had first entered this marriage, the woman had hoped for at least a peaceful life. That's why for so long, she swallowed every insult and ignored every public display of affection between him and his lover. But he never offered her a shred of respect. When the woman thought things couldn't get worse, she was cornered as the mistress faked an injury to frame her. That's when she realized the true depth of her rival's viciousness. She understood she wasn't just a shield. The real goal was to discard her completely. Meanwhile, the mistress advanced her plot, hiring a thug to assault her in the washroom and ruin her reputation forever. Upon being saved by a mysterious stranger, the woman immediately saw an opportunity, but on one condition: she would pay this man to help her have a child. The next morning, without a second thought for her husband, she arranged a new contract and set in motion a plan to secure her own future. But even a family dinner became a new battleground. The family patriarch wanted to ensure the newlyweds were bonding properly. His well-meaning grandfather believed they were a new couple who must share a room to build their relationship. But little did the old man know, his grandson had never once touched his wife. So, the husband begrudgingly entered the shared bedroom. Seeing his wife already there, the husband sneered, assuming she had orchestrated this whole scene to seduce him. So he coldly accused her of using cheap tricks to gain his attention. Seeing this, the woman simply met his gaze, utterly tired of his twisted logic, because she knew explaining herself was pointless. After the tense standoff, the husband revealed his true intentions, but the real twist came when he proposed a deal. Thinking he understood her completely, the husband thought her only goal was to stay in his family, so he offered to drop the pregnancy issue if she asked for a divorce. And because his true love was the mistress, he mistakenly believed this was a generous offer she couldn't refuse, when in reality, she no longer wanted him at all, but refused to be the one to do his dirty work. She would not be the villain in his love story. The woman, furious, began her new life, but her husband soon found a way to hurt her more. But just then, he summoned her to the office for a shocking announcement. The woman couldn't believe it, but her husband confirmed he had given her hard-earned position to his unqualified mistress. At the office, while the husband was proudly installing his lover in a seat of power, the woman was left to confront this ultimate betrayal. Just then, the mistress smugly taunted her, but the woman focused her anger on her husband. Only when he completely devalued her years of hard work did she finally break. At that moment, suddenly, all the respect he ever had for her was revealed to be a lie. But what did the husband say? He only declared that his mistress could do the job just as well, while the woman was told she was nothing without the company. His words were the final, decisive blow. After the ultimate humiliation, the woman calmly said she was done playing along. Just then, her husband arrogantly declared that without the company, she was nothing. But the woman couldn't tolerate his delusion for a second longer, and directly submitted her resignation, walking away from it all. Because of this, the husband was left stunned, having lost his final piece of leverage over her. So, to reclaim her life, she left the corporation she had helped build without a single look back. She was now a free agent, seemingly alone, when her new partner gets a critical update about her situation. And that's when we find out the entire truth. The man she hired is in fact a powerful business mogul, and her resignation has just landed on his desk. Now, what will happen next?